do it. Dark Network.
All right, hey y'all. Welcome to my podcast, Loving My Growth with your girl Lavette. This is my 11th episode. We are talking about addiction and recovery. The drugs and its effect on our community. I am here with Mr. Jermaine and Mr. Vince, and we're going to roll on with conversation through the day. But first off, just like we always start, we're going to start with the word of the day and end with several today, because I know my guys got some stuff, several products we're going to promote today. So, word of the day is addiction. So I have a couple definitions. First definition, which comes from Oxford: the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. But then we roll over to Merriam-Webster. Merriam-Webster says, a strong and harmful need to regularly have something, such as drugs, or do something, such as gambling. And a little extra tidbit: addiction is a biopsychosocial disorder. That was a mouthful. Characterized by compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences. I think I like that one better. So today I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves, and we're going to start with, I think, the younger one. I think that's you.
How you doing? My name is Jermaine Scales. I am a alcohol and drug counselor. What all did you want me to say? You didn't say what you wanted.
Oh, talk about yourself. You know, where you from?
From San Francisco. Reside in Vallejo right now.
How long have you been drug counseling?
I am still what they want to call apprentice. I haven't got my California certification yet, but I'm in the process of doing that. But I've been doing this, I want to say, since 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Vince, you next.
Hi, my name is Vincent Garrett, and I'm a recovering addict, so I have 22 years clean. Most of my experience is personal, lived experience, and but I did work as a drug counselor and a group home counselor when I first got clean. So it's been some years now, but I worked at Centerpoint in San Rafael, and I worked at a group home. In fact, I worked at a couple group homes in Oakland, and this is like decades ago. So
Okay. So that's the experts in the building. We're going to get this conversation going. So my first question for you guys was, why is drug addiction so popular? I mean, why do people do drugs? What's your take on that? Either one of y'all could step up.
Well, I believe people turn to drugs because of life experiences, things that is not going right, and they just want to want the problem to go away for the moment, because it never really goes away.
So they escape.
Just a temporary escape, and then they continuously want that escape, and they just keep going back until it becomes an issue that their body needs it more than they feel that they do.
Okay. All right. I like that.
yeah, to expound on that, why it's so popular, it's in popular culture now. So you're getting it in TV, you're getting it from music videos, and you hear about peer pressure, but just your peers are doing drugs, and so it kind of puts the onus on you to want to try it out. They look like they having fun. I know that's what it was for me. My friends were drinking, and you know, we were in our teens, and we could go up in the liquor store and just get a 40, and we're hearing it in. You know, I didn't know nothing about no 40s till I heard Eazy-E talking about drinking 8-ball. And so I'm like, let's get us some 8-ball. What is 8-ball? And we asked the local drunk at the liquor store, and he was like, it's Old English, youngster. And so we was like, oh, all right, well, let's go get a 40 of some Old English. And that's where it kicked off for me. What drove it and then kept it going was childhood trauma.
Something we talk about all the time. So with that childhood trauma, that's where the coping, people use it to cope with whatever issues, instead of taking the route of going to therapy and working on those issues. Then they turn to something that is readily available? Is it?
Okay, look at it like this.
Can you go buy it like you go in the store and get some candy?
By what? First off, what you talking about?
Drugs, period.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, some people, all I gotta do is walk outside their door.
Very true.
I mean, if you grow up in the hood, you know about drugs before you know anything else. Before you know your ABCs, you know about drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, so
yes.
In the hood, therapy is taboo. You tell somebody that you're going through therapy and they start thinking something's wrong with your mentals.
It is.
But you just may have some trauma. That's not you being mentally unstable.
Right.
And that's what people consider therapy, is being mentally unstable.
Right. The man standing on the corner talking to himself.
Right.
And all the stuff.
And all he is addicted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He addicted to some kind of drug. And, you know, it's like you said, like, in music. Now, I'm also a DJ. And I listen to lyrics all the time. And the one lyric that, when I started doing my schooling in addiction, one song came to mind. And it was Biggie. You know what I'm saying? X makes the sex spectacular. You know what I'm saying? That's the first lyric that came to my head. Like, wow, it really is in music. But until you are in the addiction, you really don't put two and two together. Because I look at music as an expression of art.
Right.
You're just talking about what you see in the hood. Mm-hmm. You're not really doing it. You're not really taking... Like, he probably was, but I never thought Biggie would be taking ecstasy. Right. I know he consistently smoked bud all day, but... Right. You know, I never thought artists really take... I thought they just talk about it, not be about it.
Right, okay. Kind of like dude, you sent me the clip of dude on 85 South, was it? 85 South, the dude, the rapper dude that was talking about doing cocaine and
I forget the artist's name, but he did a whole remake of Michael Jackson song. It was
about him doing cocaine.
Me and my cocaine.
Like, okay. Anyway, the melody was Men in the Mirror, but the song was about him doing cocaine. But I respect him because he said that in that interview. He said, "I don't share my addiction," and he said, "I'm not even addicted. I can stop this anytime I want to." But he loved smoking cocaine.
That's what all addicts say. But
that they can stop it anytime.
You know, he only can go by what he say, you know, and, you know, he said that I put it down for 2 years and didn't think nothing of it. Like, I did it cold turkey. I just put it down for 2 years. And he was struggling making music. So he picked it right back up. And
which is, you know, why is it so hard to quit? And
let me speak to that.
Okay.
Because that bring up a good point about who's an addict and who's not an addict. Because, like, when I was in my addiction, I was like, I can quit whenever I want. But the thing with me that kept me going was I had all this stuff from my past that I wasn't dealing with, that I didn't even know I needed to deal with. Wasn't even think about it, but it was driving me, and it drove me in my addiction. So I kept going past when I wanted to stop. But there's other people who can stop. I had a homeboy, and I always share this, that his dad shot dope for like, I don't know, in the 90s, he had been doing it for like 30 years, shooting heroin. He worked for the city of Oakland, and he took care of his kids, took care of responsibilities, stayed going to work. But he shot dope for 30 years
So function.
at that time. So I don't know if he's still living. I know he retired and was still shooting dope. And I always thought about that, like, how could he do that? And it was one thing that I learned about the thing that separates addicts from people who just use drugs is that addict could use drugs until their life becomes unmanageable. And that was my thing. My life became unmanageable. I couldn't hold no job. I couldn't go to school. I'm in and out of jail and then eventually prison. I couldn't manage on probation, parole, none of that. And so it forced me to have to seek some help. Addiction or addicts, we'll speak on addicts. People see long before addicts see that they need help. And they don't get it because they're deep in it. But other people can see, like, your life is unmanageable. You ain't taking care of your kids, you're losing your job, you done lost your mate, you done lost your kids, like, and it's just something that just goes downhill until you start dealing with that trauma. So that's the thing that I believe is like different between somebody that just used drugs, like my homeboy's dad, who shot dope. His sons end up, one of them smoked coke, and then the other one that was more closer to my age, I went to school with him, he smoked dope and shot dope. And I shot dope too in the end. And so we was all unmanageable. None of us could manage. And somehow their father was able to get up every day, go to work, took care of his wife. They had a little sister, and just maintain. And that always puzzled me till I really start understanding that there's a difference between people that are addicts and people that just use drugs. So that's a good way to make that point about dude who able to put the coke down. Like, because I don't know many crackheads can just put the crack down for a couple years and just not smoke no more.
Okay. So why is it hard to quit?
Because when you're on drugs, you don't think that you're addicted. And most of the time, like my clients I speak to at work, I ask them, like, what, you've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you deciding to get off it now? And when you were still using drugs, what were you searching for? And a lot of them say, that first time, that first high. That first time they've ever put the crack pipe to the mouth or cocaine in the nose or in this, however they did it, that first initial high, they keep chasing it. And it's like a sense of euphoria for them. Something that they can't even explain. Can you explain your first time?
Nah, it was, I don't know, it felt really good. And I've heard that sentiment that you can never get that again. I mean, I would get it again, but
You have to keep elevating. You have to keep elevating to a different drug to
especially with drugs like heroin, like I was selling it. So,
And just because I put a whole bunch of energy into something doesn't mean that you value that thing. But if I put a whole bunch of energy into it, I can take an idea from the ether and turn it into something tangible, and I can put it out there in the world and make it available. That's success to me.
Just something from nothing.
Something
Everybody to another episode of Melanated Harmony. Today my host is Alexis.
as a black culture or a black group, we don't teach our kids the fundamentals of values or morals or credit or how to be self-sufficient, how to survive, how to budget, how to save money, how college is the most essential part of life. Trade school is just, the devil. But that's another topic.
My habit just kept getting bigger and bigger because I always had it.
You broke the 10 crack commandments.
Okay, so enlighten me.
On their own supply.
That right there.
You know?
Okay.
But yeah, it was hard for me to get off because the denial piece. You just denied it, my whole life burning around me, but I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I just keep telling myself I'm cool. Fuck, I didn't want it. I didn't want that job anyway. Fuck it. My kids, they, I have 2 at the time, and they bad anyway. Go to your mama. You know what I'm saying? And just, I would find ways to deny I had a problem and then justify why my life was the way it was. And that goes to some of the mental, that makes it a mental thing, because
You're telling
life
yourself,
gotta be crazy.
You're telling yourself it's okay to continue to smoke because everything else around you is jacked up.
Yeah, that's also a driver of it. The more stuff gets messed up, the more I'm like, fuck it. It's already messed up, let me just keep going. That type of mentality.
That was one of my questions. What fuels the addiction? And y'all just roll right into it. I'm okay with that. You were going to say something when he was talking.
And I lost it. That's why I shut up.
That's okay. All right. So is addiction considered a disease?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what helped me get a hold of it, was to understand that it was a disease. And you look up disease right quick. I mean, I don't want to paraphrase and make it wrong, but
Okay.
I know it's a condition. That's the part that stuck with me.
Okay.
It's a condition. And for me, that means it's something that requires maintenance. Like diabetes is a condition. You got to take insulin or whatever. You got to watch what you eat. You got to exercise. And so with me having the disease of addiction, that means I got to maintain it. I got to, that means I have a responsibility to take care of it. So here in the Merriam-Webster on my phone, definition: a condition of the living animal or plant body or of one of its parts that impairs normal functioning and is typically manifested by distinguishing signs and symptoms. The distinguishing signs and symptoms is an unmanageable life. Me in prison, me can't maintain a job, me can't keep my word, show up for my life or anybody else's life. Those are some of the signs and symptoms. And so when I learned it like that, I was able to kind of surrender to, okay, I need to get some help.
Okay.
I need to get a sponsor. I need to work the steps. I need to go to meetings. I need to do all this stuff to maintain my recovery. So when I did that, it was able to work. Because prior to that, I was resisting all that. Why I got to tell this stranger my business? Why I got to go to all these damn meetings? Why I got to do this? Why I got to do that? And all that why was just reservations. Because I really just wanted to go back and use. So
what's the key to being sober?
Living. Caring about yourself.
Okay.
Like we have a questionnaire at my job. I work at a methadone clinic. And one of the questions is, do you have trouble taking care of yourself? And something as small as just taking a shower every day, most addicts don't do because they're worried about going to get drugs. Another one of our questions is, do you spend most of your time recovering from drugs or searching for drugs?
Okay, so when you say recovering, does that mean you did drugs and you wake up the next morning and you're trying to
get your mind together to be able to go function in the world.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just simple as that. You know, that word addiction is it's a double-edged sword in my eyes, because I feel that everybody has some sort of addiction, and they only worry about that word when it pertains to drugs. I've never been addicted to drugs. I got into this field because of my family and seeing the many people that are doing drugs in my family. I'm not gonna put no names out there.
Right.
That's my personal business. But I consider myself to have an addiction.
Okay.
But nobody will see it as being a bad thing. But if you would rather go, okay, my addiction is music. I'm a DJ. So back in the day, it was buying records. If you could go to some place, well, I go to a record store and I may have $50 in my pocket. I'll go into the record store thinking, okay, I'm gonna spend $20 because I know I'm gonna be hungry later and I'm gonna go get me some food. By the time I get out that record store, I just spent $49. Now I ain't got no money for food.
Right. Okay.
An addiction, because I chose not to eat to go buy this music.
Okay.
Same thing for somebody that's on drugs. They will go buy drugs before they go get something to eat.
Okay. That's
And
deep.
when you think about that, and you go to 7-Eleven, you see that guy outside and he asking, you got a couple dollars, you're really thinking that, okay, I could give this man $2 or $3. He can go do whatever he want to do with it. Why not I go buy this man some food instead? It may cost the same.
Okay.
But when you go take it to him, watch his attitude. Is he going to be grateful or is he going to be pissed?
Right. Right.
Because he just want the money. He don't want the food.
Right.
He want the money to go buy him a bottle or go buy him some drugs.
Right.
And I've actually had that happen to me to where this man asked me for some money. I didn't have no cash, but I went into the store and I was looking at him as I was in line, and I went and bought him some food because he just looked like he was hungry. He threw the food back at me.
Oh.
From the hood, you know my mind, you know,
Right.
from 0 to 1,000, but I had to check myself like, let me not get in trouble because this man then disrespected me by throwing his food at me. He's going through something.
Right. Right.
Which made me look at addiction in a whole nother aspect, because that's what's calling him. The drug or the alcohol is calling him, and he don't want to go eat.
Right.
He don't want to take care of himself.
Got it. Got it.
You know.
That's a good point too, because since I've been clean, since I've been clean off of drugs, I've developed other addictions, and that's most people do.
Yeah.
Being that I'm a part of a 12-step community, I see people, and include me, get clean, and then food become addiction, sex become an addiction, money, property, prestige becomes an addiction. You see dude come across some money and he got rings on every finger, like just overdone. Like,
Right.
dude, come on.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Or somebody start getting some property and then they just become obsessed with getting property, and they got all these properties everywhere. Everything is about getting these damn properties.
And not taking care of.
I mean, going in debt to get all this gold and be shining and flossing and in the meeting and stuff around a bunch of other addicts.
Right.
Who are you trying to impress? People get clean and just blow up. I've seen people get diabetes. I've seen people die from diabetes because they couldn't stop the eating. They couldn't manage that.
They didn't want to eat healthy.
Yeah, straight up.
That's what
Don't want to exercise. I've seen other people address that addiction and go into another
Food
12-step group.
Anonymous,
Yeah, I've seen them drop the weight and keep it off. And had a friend who went through that, and she was able to. I mean, just seeing like you gotta wake up in the morning, call your sponsor, give them your food plan. It was a lot. I was like, damn, that takes some serious discipline to do that, because you know the whether it's NA or AA, you know they ain't addressing none of that. So it's every event we got hella food and hella sugary shit around, donuts at the meeting and coffee and plenty sugar.
I found out. Well, I didn't find out. I asked that question. Why, when people addicted to drugs, when they are coming off of the drugs and they're trying to get straight, why are they just animate about sweets, candy, cookies, donuts, anything that has sugar? They attract it. And I found out it's the chemical in the drug that they're coming down off of that's spiking these other sensations.
Okay.
I look at it as sugar being a drug itself. Like, it hit them same.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Them dopamine and receptors.
Because when you're sad, when you're sad, and it's like, okay, I need a Twinkie. Okay, and then 5 Twinkies later, okay, or I need right, you know, need some chocolate cake or something. It's like, okay, and it's supposed to. Some people use it because they think it's gonna soothe whatever it is that they're going through at the moment.
Temporarily, and that's the problem with any addiction is it does temporarily. That's why you had a good, the definitions you had was good, because you talked about how, it slipped my mind.
We can revisit that. I like the strong and harmful need. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thing or activity.
Yeah, that was good how they put that.
So the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity.
And so those substances, I mean, mind or mood altering substances. And sugar can be that. Coffee, caffeine can be that.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's the number one thing people come in when they come in and get you guys got any coffee? We just like a coffee in Starbucks down the street. You know,
every meeting has to have some coffee.
Yeah, and donuts.
That type of thing. Yeah.
Because it's supposed to keep you up and alert and aware.
Well, that caffeine is a drug too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicotine too.
Yeah.
So I was able to shake that addiction too, and by the grace of God. But I spoke at a meeting a couple weeks ago. I brought that up. Then people start walking out.
You want to take my cigarettes too?
I touched the sensitive area, and I didn't tell them. You know, I just told them because they was smoking in the meeting. I'm like, man, come on, we was outside, and so I know we outside, but like, go over here with it.
Right.
Because I'm at that point now where, I mean, for 10 years I wanted to be around people smoking because I just
wanted to smell it.
And then after 10 years it was just like, shit stank.
Right.
Meet Red.
This is what I'm talking about. It's hard to find good help.
I got some help for you, man. I got somebody who don't even have a schedule. We can replace him.
Always into something. Meet Jalen, fresh out and trying to do right.
So I took the rap.
He took his felony.
You're girls. You're not even working. You're not even doing the right thing.
I tell you what, I'm gonna give you a chance. Don't f me over. Wait a minute. Hey,
That package y'all had last Thursday, the one delivered to the plunge,
Yeah.
what happened to it?
He got dropped off.
This winter,
I think we're fired. Man, I'm trying to be with these girls because
You don't figure it out. They're gonna take you on a wild
this is how we go get some money. Now, I don't know what these do. I don't know if they's Viagra.
Make sure you keep track of all your belongings.
But I'm going to take one because we can't sell them and we don't know.
Because anything goes when it's finders keepers.
We going to take one. That's plural. We don't be walking around with a hard ass.
Coming to a hood near you.
So, and it kind of messed up some of my relationships because after the meeting, we outside, they pulling out their cigars and cigarettes. I don't want to be around none of it.
Right.
So I can't be at the meeting after the meeting. And so I'm hopping in my car bouncing, and I shared that. And I just told them, y'all can recover from that too. And they didn't want to hear that, boy. Half the meeting got up and left. I was like, okay.
Well, I know that it was funny because I know people when the prices of the cigarettes went up, and then here in Richmond, El Cerrito, they took away the menthol, the flavor, and it was just like, okay, I'm gonna quit. If I'm gonna smoke this last pack of menthol and I can't get them anymore, so I'm gonna quit. Or if the cigarettes go past $10, I'm gonna quit.
They're 12 now.
People ain't quit. And they still buying them, and they going out their way to find what store I'm selling that menthol cigarette to.
Right, exactly.
And the cool thing about menthol is that, and this I've learned since I've been in activism around smoking cessation and getting it off of college campuses, but it masks, like, if you was to remove the menthol and just smoke it straight, it would be way, way stronger. And in fact, it was something I went through. When I quit, I went from smoking regular Newports to mediums to lights. And I just disciplined myself to do that. But then I crossed from lights to trying to smoke. My wife at the time, she smoked Marlboro Red. And I was smoking Marlboro Reds. It was nowhere near as strong as the lights. I had to rip the filter off, and they still weren't as strong as the lights. Wow. And so I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I remember I used to smoke regulars, and I couldn't stand lights. And I'm like, well, damn, how strong is them regulars? I'm like, they trying to kill us with this shit. The Newport, the menthol, the one cigarettes that mostly black smoke, which is the strongest, has the most nicotine. It masks all that extra nicotine that you inhaling. So it's like, damn, man. And they did that on purpose. Like, they went to communities and free Newports. Right. Imagine they $12 now. They was free then. And just the it was in that definition, the psychosocial.
The biopsychosocial.
Psycho, which is mental, and social, which is us.
Right.
Just people tend to smoke the type of cigarettes that you have access to. So my parents smoked Newports, and so when I would sneak and steal the cigarettes, it was Newports. And so I became a Newport smoker too. And so just imagine just that spread out through our community.
Right.
With that menthol killing us. So, but yeah, people don't want to deal. You can't stand it. And that's, I think, the normal reaction to cigarette smoke.
Yeah, my parents smoked, and it's crazy because neither one of me or my sisters smoked. Even though it was, my parents still smoke today, but we don't. And my daughter is very similar to me. I used to be like, stink, want to break their cigarettes. My stepdad said I broke his. I don't remember that one. My daddy's I may have broke. My stepdaddy, I don't think I broke that. But that's my sister. My daughter. She's like, oh my God, you're killing me. Just the smell of it. And it's like, I can't. It irritates. So my next question, we're flowing. just to keep us going a little bit, how does the meetings and counseling actually help with addiction?
Going back to that social piece, for me, going to meetings helped because I was around people with a similar mission. I didn't know how important that was. Because, like, initially I was resisting, like, I don't want to be around y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause I was so young when I got clean. I was 23. These people in their 40s, 50s, you know, shot dope for as long as I had been living. That type of stuff. So I was just looking at all the differences. But once I surrendered that, okay, I'm an addict, and I got to play with y'all. So one way or another, I just got to play with y'all. And I just learned so much just from going to meetings, hearing other people share their experiences, from dealing with a sponsor who was more experienced, who had been through the steps, who could take me through the steps to address that trauma that I had that was driving my addiction. Because now I'm clean, but I'm still acting out in other ways.
Right.
And so if I don't get into the addressing that trauma or whatever, I'm gonna keep being self-destructive, and I may relapse. Like, it was people when I got clean with 20, 25 years, 30 years relapsing and stuff. And I was like, damn, that's scary. I'm at 22 now, but it was put in my mind early that, you know, you gotta provide maintenance for this thing, or you keep being self-destructive, and eventually you may go back out. And so that's how I've been able to maintain, because I continually go to meetings, I continually identify as an addict. Like, when I go in new spaces, like I've been to college and university and all this type of stuff, and I'm active, dealing with all these normal people, right? And they drinking, but because I keep that identity first, I never shun that identity or try to hide it, that I've been able to just stay clean outside of the meetings, and maintain my clean time, so, on my recovery.
Yeah.
It's the therapy. You know, you hear drug therapy, and it's not taboo. Oh, you getting off drugs? You got a counselor? You got a sponsor? You got somebody you can talk to? Now that I'm on drugs, now I need somebody to talk to. I needed somebody to talk to before I was on drugs, but I was talking to y'all about going to therapy, and y'all looked down up at me like I was crazy. But now that I turned to drugs, and now I'm an addict, because I'm going to be an addict for the rest of my life, whether I get off of drugs or not, I'm going to be an addict for the rest of my life, because that's how I have to think. You know what I'm saying? I can't, I just get through that one time. No. But it's the conversation you have with your counselor, and however good your counselor is. Because at my job, I installed like seven people from my other counselors, because they don't like talking to them, and I don't know, people just like talking to me. And I got this one lady that's been on methadone for 20 years, and my first question was to her, so when are you gonna get tired of taking this? Well, I'm already tired. So we about to start a taper program. We gonna start a taper program, which is a taper down program. She was on 100 milligrams of methadone, and she wanted to do. No other counselor ever talked to her about, tapering down her program and trying to become a normie. You know, that's the word for people that's never been addicted to drugs. They're normies. And you, right?
I'm like, I like that name. I don't like that name.
That's what they call them. That's what we're called, normies, if we've never been addicted. And I have to tell my participants, I'm a normie, and they like, really? Well, why are you in this field? other reasons. You know,
Right.
you don't have to be an addict to be a drug counselor,
Right.
even though they are the best because they know firsthand of what it feels like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the process of getting off.
Right.
You know, my supervisor, he's a I look at him now and I'm like, you was addicted to heroin for 20 years? He's 60 something years old. Most addicts get off of drugs and find something else to be addicted to. His addiction now is exercise. This fool told me that he do 400 sit-ups every morning before he get dressed to go to work.
What? So my abs hurt right now.
I'm like, 400? Like before you even get up, take a shower to get dressed to, and he live in Stockton and work in Fairfield?
Okay, that's discipline.
That's heck that discipline. And he said on the weekends he do 2,000.
Damn. This fool got abs of steel.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? But it's true. Most people addicted to drugs find find something else to be addicted to. I mean, not to
change your attention to
not to shun anybody, but how many pastors you know used to be addicts?
Pastors?
Pastors.
Oh, yeah.
Deacons. How many do you know that used to be on drugs? Heavy in the drugs.
Right.
I remember going to my one of my boys' church for the first time and seeing his pastor. I wanted to get up and walk out. He looked like a pimp.
Yeah.
Hair done like yours. Rings, chains, you know what I'm saying? A full-on double-breasted suit. And I'm like, if you don't look like Pimpin' Ken, you know?
Right.
And this was before I was even
into
drug counseling. I'm just like, dang. And like I asked my partner after, I was like, did your pastor used to be a pimp or something? And he just busted out laughing like, what gave you that impression? And I'm like, you gonna ask me that looking at your pastor? And he was like, yeah, he used to be a pimp and he used to be on drugs.
But I mean, just like counselors, you know, they know the field. They know manipulation. They know, you know, how to get people to follow you and listen to you, catch their attention, you know, and yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But okay, so are all addicts bad? I mean, are
when they were in their addiction? Yeah, probably.
They may have done bad things.
Hey y'all. So because we had a good time and we got a lot of information in this episode from my wonderful guests, we are actually going to make 2 parts to this episode. So stay tuned next month. You'll be able to catch the second part. You don't want to miss all that good information. Stay tuned. Thanks.
you